Hey Dr. Lance, I'm currently outside on my hammock, so I thought I would get some of my RNAs in while I was out here since I wasn't doing anything. I hope you can hear me. I'm gonna feel bad if you can't hear me because I'm gonna redo this whole thing. So today I'm going to talk about the being gay at Jerry Falwell, language of appeasement, race on campus, online students, and reverse the outcome-oriented education monster, I think is what it is. Yeah. I really hope you can hear me because I'm going to feel really bad if you can't, because I'm going to have to redo this whole thing. So, starting with the being gay at Jerry Falwell. I think that's how you say it, probably not. Personally, I didn't like this article. It was poorly written, and I didn't think it was a good narrative for being like a queer individual in the college setting. I think it was don't mind the cars. I think it was a good narrative for what a white gay man's experience could be at a institution like he was at. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else to say about this article. I just thought it was bad. It's still important to read though, since, you know, we need to know about all this other stuff that's like other people's perspectives and everything, and not everyone's narrative is going to be the same. So it's very quiet now. Great. With the language of appeasement, I really liked the new rubric that it came up with, and how it talked about how equity and social justice sometimes are the better words to use for this kind of stuff. And I do feel like my page is falling around because it's really windy. Diversity and inclusion, I feel like, are a lot of like check boxes. It is windy today. Some like different check boxes that you can do for institutions in different ways. Like it just, I think they're just like nice buzzwords that a lot of universities like to use to like show that they're inclusive and like show that they care about people of color and all this other stuff. So I like the new rubric. I like how it defined like the difference between diversity and inclusion is like who's in the room, and then like I should have pulled up the rubric, but who's in the room, and then who's like affected by the things that are in the room currently. So yeah, I like the new rubric, and I want to try and use that in my new programming stuff that we're doing next year, actually. Okay, race on campus. This was a very bulky article, so I tried to read as much as I could, and I just realized I don't like talking like in public for these things, so it's very this is very weird. I'm not going to do this outside again. So with this, I feel like it told the very difficult story of being a person of color on campus. I think it talked a lot about just I really liked when it talked about the basically like the fatigue that it comes from being the only person who's educating students on diversity and stuff like that. When you fall into that category, you get tired from having to explain yourself so often. I feel like people not of color, I think I said this in class, where we really need to not be the voice for people of color, but rather be willing to help teach alongside them and help give them the platform to be able to speak their own stories and talk their own voices and stuff like that. But then at the same time, we have to find the happy middleman of like what's in between talking too much and letting making them do all the talking, because when they do all the talking, then that's where that fatigue comes in. So online students, this one was very interesting. I found online classes to be very fascinating recently. Personally for me, I'm not good with online classes, and so not good with online classes, and so I don't really take them very often, but they're a good tool for different kinds of students to use, especially when they can't necessarily go to the campus that they want to go to. And when they can't go to the campus that they want to go to, then it's a nice little middleman to be able to still take the classes that are offered there, even if it is online. I do feel like sometimes you don't always get everything you want out of online classes. I know that when I took online classes, it was normally like gen eds and like throwaway courses that like I didn't really care if I did well in. I just needed to make sure that I passed. So I don't know how beneficial online classes are for other individuals. For me, I didn't get much out of it, but I can see why it would be beneficial for others. And I feel like online students need different kinds of support than regular students do, because they need to at least have the opportunity to sometimes have that face-to-face, but they won't always get that chance. It talked about some of the supports that students had and needed for it, and I feel like online students almost need more support because the likelihood of them failing is large, and that was shown in the article. And so for them to be able to succeed, they need a lot more support than regular students because they have a much higher likelihood of failing out and not completing the classes. And so I think we need to learn how to support those students. It's hard for me in my assistantship to do that since I don't have online classes like for students because they are, I'm in housing, so they don't always necessarily have that kind of like appeasement. So, or not the appeasement that I don't normally have that opportunity to meet online students because most of the time my students are like coming here because they are brick and mortar kind of deal. Like they want to come to the institution and be at the institution. So yeah, but I'll still encounter online students in my life, and so I need to know how to support them. So this article was useful. I just don't know how immediately I'll have to use it. And then the last one, reverse the outcome-oriented education monster that we unleashed. So I really liked this article. I didn't get much out of it too much, but it did make me start thinking about like the resiliency of students. And I feel like students today are more resilient because they went through like the financial crisis of the 2008 era time, early 2010s time. And I feel like they're more resilient because they've been so much more educated on like different topics like mental health and other serious topics that like maybe not necessarily a lot of other people were educated on at the start. So I think a lot of people like to say, oh, these students don't know what they're talking about, they've never had to struggle for anything. But in reality, I feel like they had to fight for a lot of what they wanted in life, and they had to figure out a lot about themselves. They had to figure out a lot about themselves and grow up a lot quicker because they did go through like the financial crisis, and then like college is expensive now, and so they're dealing with knowing how to pay for college a lot earlier when necessarily that maybe not have been true later. Like trued earlier. I think students today are amazing because they've just fought so much, but they're still willing to keep going. So like that just goes back to like the resiliency of students and how far they're willing to go to be able to be a successful individual and achieve their dreams. So I think that's all the articles. So I'm gonna sign off for now, mostly because I feel like this is kind of awkward and I actually really don't like doing this in public for some reason. So I will see you next time, and I'll see you in class. Have a good day. Bye.